Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for your support in this channel. We have surpassed the 15,000 subscription mark. This is because of you, and of course, we are on our journey to 20. One question: if you were to rate UDA nominations vis-a-vis ODM nominations, what percentage can you give UDA, or in terms of out of 10, how much can you give? At the end of my analysis, I'll do my own rating, personal rating, but I also want to see how you can rate. I normally fancy this universal suffrage because, for one, it brings new breed of faces into this system. It brings the new leaders in the system. And if you see what happened in Bomet, the women rep seat, where that young lady, having seen to be growing, coming from the grass, really clinched the UDA seat there. Very interesting. In ODM, back in Nairobi here in Sarangombe, there is a candidate who won an MC, I think Sarangombe seat through ODM nominations, and he is living with disability. A very interesting faces that have been injected into the system. So that is sometimes what it is. But again, as we are in the politics, I suggest that nominations have been set, is actually setting the standard. And though it is work in progress, but of course, people are making some very great milestones. Now, I want us to look at the UDA nominations a little bit deep, because for me, I think the big faces, the big boys, and the women that are rolling down is something that is painting some picture in the face of Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. So far, as I was going on shooting this video, Wasigishu Kotimoja had floored the other candidates, including Caleb Kositany. Kositany was a very strong ally of Deputy President. Wamatangi had also clinched the seat. I was so interested in the Kiambu seat, especially Wamatangi. Then Waruguru has also lost nominations to Amin Teddy Mohammed. We are going to look at that, and also Isaac Mwaura. In fact, the one for Isaac Mwaura shocked me, but again, this is something that is happening. Then, if you look at the way that nomination was done, in fact, if you look at the loss in the Kiambu one, Wamatangi came to UDA late, and people will always think that the Django, he was facing with Django and I think it was Django and Ferdinand Waititu. People thought that Wamatangi came late, but it was so interesting for him again to come and clinch that seat, that nomination slot. So also in Laikipia East, Waruguru was facing off with with Amin Dedi. I think it's called Dedi here, Amin Dedi, and Kiharu Mutahi. The other slots were given direct nominations. Now, I want us to look at three, and I'm going to focus on the Central Kenya. Because if you remember, I did analysis in this video, and I mentioned that one of the reasons why Deputy President was doing nominations, especially in the Central Kenya, and he was so interested there because it was a litmus test. One, to gauge in terms of how many people are around the UDA, as in the turnout there will explain on the UDA euphoria, and how many people would are actually buying the hustler narrative. So for me, I was so keen on first, even the turnout, leave alone the outcome, even the turnout, it was going to be a very key indicator and a very good baseline to make a projection on what we should expect in the August 9th general election. There is something we need to appreciate here, that Waruguru and Isaac Mwaura's fate should be a worry to Deputy President. These two incidences, these two should really worry Deputy President, because remember, Waruguru was with I think he was with Raila at some point. Then she crossed over and joined UDA, and when she joined UDA, She joined the bandwagon that was attacking the president and abusing Raila. At some point, you know, they had the team that were demonizing Raila. In fact, I just wanted to listen to a snippet of this here.
Tulikuwa ngenia, sisi hatukuona mtu ya kitendawili. Kulikuwa ni Uhuru na Ruto. Yangu 10 na ya ndugu yangu 10. Lakini kuendelea hapa katikati, ule jamaa amezoea kupasua vyama na kupasua serikali. Ule jamaa ya kurusha mawe, ule mtu ya kitendawili, ule jamaa ya kusinzia kama amedungwa na suffrage. Nataka kusema hivi. Hakuna mtu ambaye ako hii Kenya ama katika Laikipia East hajaniona kung'ang'ana kwangu, kujitolea kwangu, kujituma kwangu kama mwanamke kwenda kutafuta kura. Na niambie mahasidi zangu kujaribu kunipaka tope ya kwamba mimi nilikuwa naiba kura. Nataka kuambia hivi, Mungu atawaanika na ulimwengu itawajaji very harshly.
Isaac Mwaura, when campaigning, I think in Msambweni, really said some very bad things about President Uhuru Kenyatta. And what was their plan was that, you know, they were trying to demonize Uhuru and Raila in a bid to consolidate the support around Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. So this was a very interesting turn of events, ladies and gentlemen. I want to tell you why these two losses, shocking losses, should be a big worry, or rather is worrying Deputy President. So kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and also give us your feedback in terms of what do you think? Why, in fact, the question is this: why do you think Waruguru and Isaac Mwaura lost? Why do you think? Now, I want us to look at this critically. Number one, the key lessons that I think Deputy President campaign team must gather from this, and I know they are so cognizant in terms of these occurrences. Uhuru's confrontation in central Kenya is going to damage aspirants. And I think I mentioned that in this channel that there are many careers that will be destroyed. And what will destroy those careers is this confrontation with President Uhuru Kenyatta. The only campaign tool for Waruguru, Isaac Mwaura, Ndindi Nyoro is in this team. Remember the Ndindi Nyoro, Gachagua, Alice Wahome, Kimani Chungwa. This team did not go for nominations. They got direct tickets. But the few that went, these two fellas, they were in that team. In fact, Waruguru was so much strong on how the president was incompetent. Isaac Mwaura was worst. In fact, Isaac Mwaura was taking the narrative of dynasty. When he spoke somewhere, I think in somewhere, he was talking about the dynasty. What this shows is that this confrontation is not selling, because the voters seems to, they're not judging in terms of your relationship with Deputy President. And at some point, Ruto was telling them that these people that want to come, that there is a meeting in DP's residence, then you want to take a photo with me, then you go and tell the people, go and talk to the people. That was very interesting. In fact, I think I have that clip here. I want you to listen to it.
Mnajua kuna candidates wengine wana time tu siku ile iko mkutano kwa DP ndio wanakuja. Hapana. Twende wapi? Tukutane wapi? Tukutane wapi? We will make sure everybody gets a fair chance. Mtu asichukue ati picha amepika na DP ati akaenda kusema oh unajua sasa mimi rafiki ya DP.
And if you want to know this is not selling, can you ask yourself how Wamatangi has won that nomination? Because Wamatangi came to UDA late, and even the moment before he came to UDA, he's one person that I think even after joining the William Ruto's rally in Thika, he's kept a low stand, very neutral. Wamatangi and Waruguru are like, they want to play the same league. Even when you watch his interviews in Citizen TV, he's one man that was seen as fence-sitter. I once analyzed his politics here and I said he was a fence-sitter. What he was simply doing is to avoid that confrontation. And I can assure you, that when he get to August 9th general election, he is going to give James Nyoro a run for the money. There is also a perception here that the Hustler Nation posturing is ineffective. I'm saying posturing because if you look at Ndindi Nyoro, Rigathi Gachagua, all this other team, they're just posturing. The real hustlers are the ones that are on ground. So you will normally understand, and I was discussing to someone who was asking me, that when Ruto was doing campaigns in central Kenya, you could see the women group, all of them in yellow. You could see border borders lined up. And that was the group that was to take the spirit of Hustler Nation. The truth of the matter here, and that is being seen here, is the spirit of the Hustler Nation is deflated in central Kenya. If you look at the people that turned out to vote, and I have been trying to sample some photos here, I did not see a group of women this women group in very good colors, even turning up to go and vote. The people that voted are the senior members of the society. Someone was telling me that the senior citizens voted because they are the ones in the villages, and the William Ruto supporters that are in the town centers like Nyeri town, Kiambu town, and these towns do not go because they went to work. I also want to agree with that. But then, the spirit of Hustler Nation was also there even during weekdays. That group is not there. And that is why this can be seen in Ruiru. If you look at Isaac Mwaura, the guy was ever in yellow. The guy was ever a hustler man. He even went to an extent of kuingia nyumba za watu akikata skuma. And that was to portray himself as the hustler. But then, they're not hustlers, they're just posturing. Now, that posturing is a bit ineffective. Look at even in Rift Valley. The fellas that are winning those things, the fellas that are winning those seats are not really that much of the hustlers. If you look at Kericho, no. So that Hustler Nation is a bit ineffective. Then, number 3, I think the turnout should worry him. And even though nominations do not have a big turnout, but look at I saw Kimandi, I think it is Ngunjiri Wambugu, saying that in 2017 Jubilee nominations, he clinched the ticket with 17,000. Number 2 had around 11, then number 3 had around 3K. Now, the person who won the ticket through UDA there, Ngunjiri Wambugu, was saying number 3 had 3,000. That means even the turnout was low. Now, of interest is Kiambu. Look at Kiambu. Kimani Wamatangi got 68,000. Wajango had 50,000, and I think the other fella had below that. If you do the sum up, it's around 120,000 with a registered numbers. Because let's not lie, UDA were using the IBC register, so they were more likely to have a larger turnout even compared to ODM back in Nyanza. If you look at the sum up of Busia, for example, Busia, Otuoma and Florence Mutua votes, all those votes, if you merge, it's almost going to 100,000. With the registered voters less than 600,000, it's around 500,000. You cannot compare that with Kiambu, and ODM was using ODM register. In Kiambu, they were using IBC register, which maximized. Everyone that walked into a polling station voted, whether you are a member of UDA or not. So that turnout is worrying. And most likely someone was arguing that the people that did not go to vote are pro-Azimio. I don't want to agree with that. That is still contestable. But then, this means that there is a likelihood that they can even lose in the general election. People who refrained from those nominations, majority of them maybe are a bit tired, they don't care, they don't have a choice, or they are focusing on the August 9th general election. So they're sitting back saying, you do the nominations, tukutane August. Most likely. But then, the other aspect is the deep state sabotage. Let me explain, and I think I want to relieve William Ruto, absolve William Ruto from some of these troubles. He mentioned that they had a large turnout, they did not expect that turnout, and that is why the elections were a little bit bungled. But the truth is, the violence that was witnessed was because the state did not offer the support, the security. Somewhere in Kabarak University, the clerks were at the gate because the university management said, we are not going to allow you to do the nominations in this school, and the studies are going on. Look at that. So that sabotage by deep state and even some areas. I listened to, I think, Isaac Mwaura saying that, interestingly, he was saying that the people who printed the ballot papers, waliweka jina yake huko katikati. So psychologically, that's when he lost. And in fact, the person that was winning had just crossed over from Jubilee. Isaac Mwaura was saying that. What this means is there is also an element of deep state infiltrated those elections. Or rather, they were sabotaged in terms of even giving them security. That should be a big worry. If this is going to continue in central Kenya, then I can tell you that even the 50% turnout William Ruto might not see it. So what next? What he must do is he must accommodate the candidates that have lost. In fact, I think if you really just want well, is to, with Waruguru, accommodate Waruguru so that it doesn't go as independent. When they go as independent, they are going to do anti-Ruto campaigns, and that might even reflect a low turnout there. Then they will deconcentrate the UDA or the Kenya Kwanza 6-piece agenda. What they will be telling the people is, vote for me as women represent MP, but huko juu pigia mwenye unataka. So the pigia mwenye nataka narrative is going to favor Ruto's opponent. That is Raila Amolo Odinga. So this is something they have to take. And I think politicians who have compact majority, this is my honest advice to you, that if you have people around you telling you, where go to the ballot, you're popular, just evaluate. Did you lose the elections on merit or you were rigged out? And number two, if the turnout in that place was less than 10%, then I will support you to go to the ballot, because there are many people who did not go to who did not turn up for nominations. You can go against the grain and still win. There is also a likelihood that some candidates were rigged out. So that is something. But be keen on people telling you that you are popular, go to the ground. Make your own evaluation. Now, lastly, I said I was going to rate those nominations. Out of 10, I will give William Ruto 4. Yes, let's do 4, so that in 2027 things might improve. Where Uda are, that's where Uda is. ODM was there in 2007, 2013, and when a party is big, he has to go through these troubles. Martha Karua keep on saying this, that a big party must have these problems. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my analysis. But then, what are your thoughts?